Hello, and welcome to the Business Forum London. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Tom Halpin, Global Head of Payment Products, Global Liquidity and Cash Management at HSBC. Tom, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You just came from a discussion around Swift GPI, and I have to say it's been standing room only, so very interesting, obviously a lot of interest in the new initiative by Swift. Can you tell me a little bit about the challenges that your corporate clients face when doing cross-border payments and how Swift GPI solves that and why HSBC has just gone live with it?
Sure. I think it's a great question. Corporates have a challenge of understanding where their payment is on its journey to getting to their end beneficiary. Think about paying a supplier. Think about paying a pensioner. So our corporates want to understand where that payment is and understand a level of certainty as that moves across. GPI actually solves that problem for them by giving them the ability to understand where the payment is in the process and understand if there is a delay, what does that delay mean? Because there's different types of statuses that can go back and forth. So it enables their awareness, and it also enables banks to better help them as well. So our journey into Swift GPI actually started about a year and a half ago. When Swift started to make this announcement that they were going to live, we immediately signed up, and we wanted to make sure that we were focusing on when to join Swift GPI because we wanted to make sure that there was enough of a community to consume the capability. We also wanted to make sure it was really going to meet the needs of our customers because we want to invest in what's important to our customers. Equally, we wanted to focus on a sustainable solution. And we believe that Swift is a long-term sustainable solution because they're even talking now about building out the next generation and new capabilities that will enable our customers not just now, but for the future as well.
Okay, because I know Swift launched the Universal Real-Time Payment Tracker in March. Mm-hmm. What pain points does that really address for your clients?
I think it addresses pain points for actually the whole community in addition to our clients. By us being able to understand where a payment is or why it's being held or actually that it was completed, we actually could respond to a customer in more real time, and that's actually what the world is becoming, right? It's becoming how can I give my customer instant information back on their payments or tell them your payment hasn't been made and here's the reason why. It helps me know where to better even go and help them in the journey. Because if there's 3 banks involved, maybe I know to go to bank number 2 in the chain and say, what do you need? How can I help you in that process? So it's really an enabler. And also the fact that all of the Swift community is ultimately going to go on GPI, at least in terms of putting the tracker there by the end of this year. That means end-to-end availability of looking at a payment journey that will be there. So the tracker gives us great opportunities to push information to our customer, answer questions more quickly, and even enable other banks in the chain to respond to their clients more effectively as well.
Okay, and another hot topic, that's been a hot topic, let's say, for the last couple of years, but definitely will be discussed at the Business Forum in London, is around distributed ledger technology. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on the payments industry? I
think it has had an impact already because it's making us think differently. It's making us challenge a lot of the legacy and a lot of the norms that have been out there. The thing that I always do question with any new technology is making sure the technology is going to solve problems. It's not using the technology for technology's sake. But I think with distributed ledger, there are some real core applications that can be used in the payment space, whether that be documentation components of it. You look at purpose of payments needs that are out there in those documents, it can be used in that space. It could also be used because with that, each person along the chain certifying that transaction, if you will, the level of trust, the level of certainty will actually go up with distributed ledger as well. But the key is finding using the technology to solve a client problem or an industry need or a regulatory obligation. It's not simply using the technology for technology's sake.
Okay, and another big change that's happening in the payments industry is really around open banking and the Payment Services Directive 2 in Europe, which comes in a bit later. But even though most of the focus has really been around the retail side of things, what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on corporates?
I think for corporate, it addresses one of the needs that they've been asking for a while, where they want to move more toward openness and standards and consistency and not necessarily be totally reliant upon proprietary solutions, because from an efficiency perspective, that's harder for them to manage. What this actually opens up is they could actually directly connect in a more open environment and get information in a standard ways that goes into their back office. For banks, I think it's a tremendous opportunity because it gets us, again, closer to what is causing the customer pain, where are their problems, and equally important, And probably more important is how do I help my customers grow and make their business develop in new different ways that they're looking for. So to me, open banking for corporates is a great opportunity that they could access to information. It's going to be moved through APIs, which is basically instantaneous channels. And the key is, what are you going to put over the channel? The amount of information that you're going to put over that, making it consumable by the corporate customer as opposed to just a mass data or mass files coming. This is actually going to be much more interactive for the customer, much more value add to the customer so that they can progress their business.
Okay. Obviously, tons of change happening within the payments industry. What do you think it's going to look like in the future?
Wow, that's a really tough question. I think the change is just going to be ongoing, but I think if you think about your individual day-to-day as a consumer and how you are using different capabilities in your life, that's what the business life experience is going to be about. Because the people consuming today on their smartphones are the ones who are going to be consuming in the business world. And technologies are lending itself to that. Much more of a push environment versus a pull environment, which was a lot of the legacy banking. And what I mean by that is customers used to have to go up into portals to get answers. The new environment is much more about pushing answers, much more about data analytics, and actually doing predictive analytics for your customers to help their businesses grow. Because the payment, again, is a byproduct of a business decision. So the future will be about how do you go further upstream to your customer, connect with their business, and incorporate other components of their business into the payment journey so that they're better able and better positioned to grow. So I think it's a very different dynamic space with new technologies. Very exciting time to be in payments.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Tom.
Thank you.